Banditry in Bokos local government and in Egypt, our president, predates 2021. As you are all aware, the climax reached on the eve of December 2023, when in one night, over 200 people were killed. Permit me to state that to date, about 783 people have been killed in Bokos local government. 689 injured. 101 women raped. 25,892 assets destroyed.
Sir, Mr. Presenter. Prof, this is the history that we say we should avoid for now. What are responsible for these killings, and then what solution do you offer? Because the story is even necessary to raise emotions. It won't provide solutions.
Mr. Chairman, sir, we came here to solve problems. And if we want to solve problems truthfully, we should allow people to air our words in their mind. However, I will respect what you are saying, but I want to say that my presentation, I will just stop to it. In this presentation, I have made provision for issues on influx of militants into the local government. I made provision for information of burial grounds that are almost 39 in Bokos local government. I've also made provision for land grabbing and giving the details of the places that have been grabbed. Having said so, let me end my presentation with specific demands, Mr. Chairman. Number one, the people of Bokos local government area are demanding the following. One, that the Fulani ethnic nationalities should be profiled to ascertain the influx of newcomers in recent years for the purpose of ensuring that they return to whatever places they are coming from. Because their continuous presence in the local government is causing serious threats to the indigenous people of Bokos local government. Number two, the Fulani should be directed to evacuate from indigenous lands that have been forcefully grabbed to enable the return of IDPs to their ancestral homes. Number three, the traditional worship mountains and hills have become armories and dens for kidnappers and armed robbers. For the Fulani bandits, these areas should be profiled and appropriately evacuated of arms. The federal government, in collaboration with our local hunters and forest guards, should comb all our rocky mountainous areas in order to recover arms.
The forest guard and all of that. So that was the Senate asking, Senate committee asking that man to provide solutions, not just tell us about what happened, even while he was in the middle of presenting his his own note. Well, leaving the leaving the insecurity issue temporarily for now, right? Let's delve into the coup that happened in Guinea-Bissau, where Goodluck Jonathan got trapped. So now, when Jonathan got back to Nigeria, he told the media, or he told the journalist, that he didn't believe that what happened in Guinea-Bissau was a coup. In fact, he believed that the president, who was supposed to have been overthrown, right, was the one who staged the whole thing. That's not a coup. And according to him, it was like the president, or now former president, who was also participating in an election that is obvious that was probably going to lose. So, in order to truncate democracy, he just parted with his own security guards to stage a coup. That's Jonathan. Then he later met with Tifnumbu this evening. But before we get to that, first, a part of Jonathan's interview yesterday.
Much, since I left office, I've always been scared talking to the media. But in this particular case, I decided to speak to the media. First and foremost, to thank Nigerians for the show of empathy, the encouragement, because while we were in Bissau and this so-called coup happened, the information we got was that the whole country was agitated, young and old, irrespective of religious divides or political divides. And I sincerely appreciate Nigerians, and I want them to hear directly from my mouth to appreciate their concern. And secondly, to thank my president, President Tinubu, and the Ivorian president, President Ouattara. Both presidents were to send aircraft to lift us, but somehow, Côte d'Ivoire is closer to Guinea-Bissau, and there's always some relationship between Francophone countries and the Lusophones among the Francophones. They were able to penetrate their system to get landing permit first before Nigeria could do that. So the Ivorian aircraft was already on their way to pick us. So when we learned about the Nigerian aircraft about leaving, we asked them not to bother. That is why if you see the picture that was brought by an Ivorian aircraft. So we thank the two presidents, President Ouattara, President Tinubu, and indeed thank Nigerians, young and old, for that. And specifically, what happened in Guinea-Bissau, I wouldn't call it a coup. It was not a coup. Maybe some people describe it as no, not quite. RNG. I would just say, if it is like, for want of better word, I would say maybe it was a ceremonial coup. Because for two things, it is the president, President Barrow, that announced the coup. Before later, the military man came up to address the world that they were in charge of everywhere. Then Mbalo has already announced the coup, which is strange. Not only announcing the coup, but Mbalo, while the coup took place, was using his phone and addressing media organizations across the world that he has been arrested. I'm a Nigerian close to 70, and I know how they keep heads of state when the coup takes place. Recently, I was a mediator in Mali, an ECOWAS mediator in Mali, and within that period, we had a military coup. Military don't take over governments, and the sitting president that they overthrown will be allowed to be addressing press conferences and announcing that he has been arrested. Why does this happen? Who is fooling who? Basically, what happened in Guinea-Bissau is quite disturbing to me, who believes in democracy. In fact, I feel more pained than the day I called Buhari to congratulate him when I lost the election as a sitting president. Because I've been quite particular about Guinea-Bissau. As a sitting president, then, Guinea-Bissau was in crisis. It started by 2012. By 2011, we have to go physically. We worked with them and made sure that by 2014, we went 2013, elections were conducted. In fact, it was so bad the day that I learned that the military man went to the office of the prime minister and slapped the prime minister in the office. It was that bad. And what is happening is like we are going back to those dark days of Guinea-Bissau, where the military can do whatever they think they can do. It's totally not acceptable. The elections were done peacefully. We were in the field. I was a part of the West African Elders Forum. Normally, we are not co-observers, so we didn't deploy observation teams across, but we observed within Bissau, the capital, and the neighboring settlements. But during the meeting of all heads of observation missions, and they gave accounts of all the observers gave their account. Nobody gave something different. The elections were peaceful. Counting of results at the polling units peacefully done. The conduct of the electoral officials, the security, the party agents, the voters. It was a good election, and one expected the results to be announced. Then while they were collating the results, then they are finished collating results. You know, results for presidential election are collated at different levels. Right. The 9 regions, results were ready. So they were collating them at the capital. And when they were almost through, and we're all waiting for the result to be announced, then Mbello announced that that's a coup. That they have taken over, they have arrested him. But from all indications, nobody arrested him. My conviction is that, and my charge to ECOWAS and AU is that they must announce that result. They have the results because AU and ECOWAS officials were the most.
Democracy in Africa. Where? Do you get me now? So the Africans can't elect their own leaders. Some are saying, no, don't use the same brush to paint all of them. Elections in Africa, democracy in Africa, it's not the same democracy that they told you that they brought to you in Africa. This is where men are more powerful than institutions. And some of them will rather bring down their own country than to bow out of power, unfortunately. So that's Africa. And other places where dictators and their collaborators. I mean, it is so sad when you have criminals who hijack levels of power in a country, and then they just could do anything, just anything, that it will get to a stage that you begin to ask yourself that, is this actually a country? Or it is not. So he met with Kolu this evening, and afterward he had this to say, so similar to what he said about, just add it to it. Then we are going to stay with Kolu to welcome the new ambassadors. Ambassador Reno Mokri, Ambassador for Food Kayode. There are many, but this first.
Thank you so much. I came this evening to brief Mr. President what happened. Well, that's the tradition. You have a former president, all these regional and continental issues. Whenever you're involved, when you get back home, you have to brief your president because the ECOWAS leaders will meet. I will not be there. So you'll be able to get first-hand information. I think, just like I mentioned in the press briefing, the key thing is that that election was concluded. Tallying of the results was almost concluded. In fact, the results are known. And the key thing is that the winner of that election must be announced. Well, they cannot kick out the military with force, otherwise people will die. But let us know the winner of the election. So what asking the ECOWAS leaders to do is to reach out to the military leadership in Guinea-Bissau. Talk to them. They are human beings. They know the right thing to be done. First, for them to release the opposition man, because the man has not committed any offense. He didn't announce himself as a winner of election. If he has done that, they will say it was a treasonable offense. So there was no reason to arrest him. So they should release that man. Then they should announce the result. And if the military will agree, the person who won the election should be inaugurated as the president of the country. We are tired of this in Africa. We are tired. Every day is negative story, negative story. What happened in Guinea-Bissau? It is not what some people would say palace coup. It was not a palace coup. We know coups. Real coups, palace coups we know in Nigeria. This was not even a palace coup. I was looking for the appropriate word to describe. I couldn't get it. I described it as a ceremonial coup. It was a ceremony conducted by the head of state himself.
So maybe that's what Kolo himself will have to do next year if they hold the election in November or in 2026, 2027, which is the ideal day, right? Now, meet your ambassadors, brethren. Tifnumbu waited there for 2 years and 6 months, 2.5 years to appoint ambassadors. Now, welcome your ambassadors. The former Enugu governor, former Ikpeazu, the former Abia state governor, for Food Kayode, as well as Reno Mokri, and your immediate INEC chairman, immediate past INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, the wives of Adebayo, former governor of Ekiti, the former governor, the late governor or former governor for your state, Florence Ajimobi, the first lady, the former first lady of your state, the current senator representing somewhere in Ondo State, Jimo Ibrahim, and many others. 30 of them have been selected by Tifnumbu as your ambassadors. They call some of them career ambassador, and they as ambassadors designate. Others are called the non-career ambassadors. Now, meet one of the ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Reno Mokri. Throwback.
Bola Tinubu. Now, you see, if you condemned Hush Puppy, but you did not condemn Bola Tinubu, I mean, it's likely you are a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite, and there's a reason why. You see, bullion bands entered Bola Tinubu's home on the eve of the last presidential elections. You know, in a country like Nigeria, notorious for vote buying. Now, ordinarily, Bola Tinubu should have been arrested and investigated if the country is based on the rule of law, like the United Arab Emirates, where Hush Puppy was arrested. But what we're seeing instead is, we're seeing Tinubu acting like a cowboy. Remember his own wife, Oluremi Tinubu, on camera, publicly, she said, Igbos, we don't trust you again. She actually said it in pidgin English. And this happened during the last elections. Now, what happened after she said that? You recall that APC thugs attacked Igbo strongholds in Lagos, where you had a lot of Igbo voters, to try to prevent them from voting. Now, but these things, you can Google them, you can check them, because I did, in fact, they were trying to suppress the voter figures of Igbos in Lagos. Now, are you trying to tell me that there was no connection between the bullion bans, Remi Tinubu's public statements, and the violence? So now I'm asking you, what is the difference between Bola Tinubu and Hush Puppy? What's the difference? What is the source of Hush Puppy's income? You don't know. You think it's illegal, it's corrupt. Okay, now I'm asking you this. What is the source of Bola Tinubu's income? What is the source of his income? You know, if Hush Puppy were to have been in Nigeria, most likely he would have been an APC politician. Because in APC, dishonesty thrives in APC. Look, I'll give you an example now. The APC today named Governor Umar Ganduje of Kano State a man caught on camera collecting bribes. This is not like a rumor or a gossip or whatever. He was caught on camera collecting bribes. I've analyzed that video. I sent it to a lab. That image is accurate. And then you now appoint this man to be the to head the Edo State